What's up, guys? In this episode of Platinum Tech, we're going to give you a very short feature on our new prototype cast iron RB block. Why does this look like it's got a front and a back cylinder stuck together? Because we got a front and a back cylinder and stuck them together. They're technically the hardest parts of the block, so we've joined them up together just to do a proof of cast to get our gas off between cylinders, as it's a Siamese bore, which means both of the inside diameters of the bores are touching, so they're Siamese, so it's all solid through the middle. So there's been a heap of changes with this RB block that I'm happy to talk a little bit about, but technically front and back cylinders are the trickiest, so we stuck them together to do a low cost of manufacture proof of cast to get our casting systems processes, cast iron ductility and pouring sequence, all of those bits and pieces behind the scenes that happens with a cast, as a cheaper version to try it out first before we go to a full-scale casting, which is very close now. Okay, so why did we decide to make a cast block over a billet block? There's other people making billet blocks. We sell bullet blocks. They do a great job. It's all fantastic. All good for high-end race applications. What about everyone else that wants an RB cast block for RB cast block road use type reasons? I'm not going to argue about whether you should use a billet block or a cast block in whatever application. I'm just satisfying the 99% of people that want a cast block. What makes this better than the Nissan OEM version of blocks? So instead of having a 3.5mm minimum wall thickness, we've gone for an 8.5mm. We're running the head stud bolt bosses all the way to the bottom of the bores. Obviously that's got its advantages whether we drill it shallow like a standard block or halfway down or the whole way down and run a stud as long as we want into the main cap area. We can do that now. We've got a 12.5mm RD type thickness head, which is the surface that usually buckles underneath the cylinder head. The material is far superior, and we're going to a slightly harder material, but it's a ductile iron, which means it's got some elasticity, which means your bores can balloon and cop a whole heap more cylinder pressure and not crack. They'll just come back after they deform. So it's not a permanent deformation, it's an elastic deformation which will come back. So we can have block twist and all that sort of stuff, and it's not going to break and snap and crack blocks. Right material in the right places, no more cracking over the oil lines on an RB26, and obviously we've stiffened up the mains. And we've also got a 4-bolt main integrated main cap solution coming for these as well. So we've ticked all of the boxes, and obviously we've been working for years on the RB block so far to get more data over thousands of blocks, so we had all of the information at hand to know exactly what we had to do to a block to make it awesome. So all of that's in process now, and we hope to be testing these blocks well and truly by the end of the year. Will this have better oiling? Yes. Although the openings are roughly the same size, we've created these huge oil channels, which are a lot bigger. You can see them on either side. Big square sections that go all the way down. We've made little improvements like that throughout the whole block. We have thought of every inherent issue that the RB block has had and everything that we think it's going to have pushing the thousands of horsepowers, and we're coming up with a solution that we think will drive us in through the next 10 years of high volume production on these things, and we hope to tick all of the boxes, because why would we want to leave any of those boxes unticked? So the answer is yep, we're working on it. Now, what's the limit of this block? Well, there is no limit. You could go 3 or 4 or 5,000 horsepower. It's not about that anymore. It's at what point does this block become too heavy for your pro mod vehicle that you're trying to pull weight out of? Well, that's when you'd go and consider a billet block. Now, the one big beauty about having a 8mm wall thickness short deck block is now we're not restricted to an 86.5mm piston or an 87mm piston or an 88mm piston or a 90mm piston. So it means we can just get under like a 3 litre or a 3.1 litre using a 77mm crank. You go 79mm crank, we're still playing with the numbers, but we can also increase the deck height a little bit by a couple of millimetres to get the gudgeon pin to sit in the right spot, to have a long enough rod, to have a short rod, big piston combo in a 3 litre or thereabouts sort of short deck solution, it's also going to sound like an RB26, and there's no argument there. The 26s and 28s sound a little bit better than the 30s and the 31s and the 32s. So now that we've got a slightly longer rod than a 26 or a 28, we've got a bigger piston. It all works, you can rev it like crap. It's still got the displacement, it's got the torque, it's got all the benefits of an RB30, 31, 32 or whatever you want to call it, but it's still a short deck block. You don't have to modify any of the pipe work. So we hope to have them in a car or have engine testing video or both by the end of the year for you. So just hold on. Cylinder heads as well. So we're running them in conjunction, and then who knows? You just don't know what PRP could be up to, but you could safely assume everything.